Let's get into mergers, the last part of our presentation. We're going to talk about three different kinds of mergers: horizontal, vertical, and conglomerate. So a merger occurs when two companies get together and merge and create something new. And there are different reasons for them, and they take different forms. So the first one is horizontal. So with horizontal, this is when two companies that basically produce a similar good merge together. I have this horizontal line between them. Think of them as being kind of the same, like on the same line. So KFC and Pizza Hut, there's an example. They both do like fast food, right? Now, if KFC and Pizza Hut merge, that doesn't really freak anybody out because there are like lots of places you can get junk food, many more than we can even count, right? However, horizontal mergers are sometimes problematic. Horizontal mergers get the attention of the Justice Department because they can limit competition, right? So again, we're not that worried about competition in the fast food industry, but we can be really worried about competition in some industries. So the problem with these is if we're talking about something really important, something like telecommunications, healthcare, like important services, or even life-giving services, then the limitation of competition there is a problem, right? You Competition is good for consumers, right? The more competition we have, the more choice we have, and also better quality. Prices tend to be lower, and sometimes it's really essential that we have some choice. I wrote down a list of kind of big mergers that have happened in the past that were horizontal. You guys in your lifetime have always known ExxonMobil as one company. They used to be different. So those are two gas companies that merged. That one happened. Disney and Pixar, right? They both make animated films. They merged together. Heinz, they make ketchup and things like that, and craft food. They also make, condiments and various things in the grocery store. They merged not all that long ago. So those are horizontal mergers that were allowed to happen, not a problem. An example of a blocked merger not all that long ago was AT&T and T-Mobile. Right, two providers of cell phone service. Because had that occurred, you would have had parts of the country where you didn't really have much of a choice, if any choice at all, in cell phone providers. There are already so few cell phone providers that's not good, because in this day and age, people use their cell phones as really their primary or only form of communication. This is how they can contact people in the case of an emergency. It's really too important. So the Justice Department actually blocked that merger and said, no, you cannot do it. When large companies want to merge, they do have to usually go before a judge or in some way petition and argue why it is that they should be allowed to merge, because horizontal mergers have that potential problem. Now, the next merger that we look at is a vertical merger. And I have this vertical line. Think of a chain hanging down in a vertical line. This is when two or more companies in one supply chain merge together. Like, hey, I'm buying something that I need. This is something I already buy from a supplier. Now I'm just going to buy the company. So a real life example here locally is Brahms, right? Brahms makes ice cream. They actually own their own transportation. They own the trucks that get the dairy products from the dairies to the restaurants. They also own the dairies. They own the dairies themselves, right? So they own these different steps in the supply chain. So instead of having to buy the milk from a dairy, instead of having to hire a trucking service, they just own all of it. So, if you were to make, I don't know, leather shoes, and you bought a leather company and you bought the, rubber company for your that you use to make the soles of your shoes, right? If you are buying the supplies in your supply chain, the products that you need, that's a vertical merger. And this is the type of merger that, you can understand why that makes sense, right? You have more control over the process. You have more control about just the quality of what is coming up through your supply chain. So that is, when a company is able to do that, that's something that, in my mind, kind of makes sense why companies would choose to do such a thing. Now, the next one, these are big, giant companies. These are what we call conglomerates. These are a mix of all sorts of different companies that own all kinds of different things. So this is 3 or more businesses that make completely unrelated products combined. These are examples of conglomerates in the kind of food and grocery world. So it's probably really hard to see on the screen. But if we look at Procter and Gamble, they make things like dish soap, but they also own makeup, and they own some fashion stuff. They own some like medications. You look at Nestle, you think of chocolate, Nestle, but they also have dog food, baby food, all kinds. Oh, they own Diesel and Ralph Lauren and Yves Saint Laurent, all kinds of stuff like that. So the reason that some of these companies choose to go here, the logic behind it is to diversify. The idea is that you can expand your customer base if you expand your offerings, right? So it just allows us to offer a lot more and have a lot more customers. Another example right here, the next one, this is a graphic I found. This is Amazon. So Amazon owns a lot of their kind of own branded stuff, but they also own Metro Goldwyn Mayer, which is a TV studio. They own Twitch and Audible. They have Zappos shoes. They bought Whole Foods, of course. So they bought a lot of things just outside of, it's not just expanding their own Amazon brand, but also purchasing, they have Kindle, purchasing a lot of other things as well. So Amazon actually owns quite a bit. It's more than just what we think of with just Amazon Prime. So those are 2 examples, or I guess multiple examples of what conglomerates look like. So our 3 mergers are going to be horizontal merger, vertical merger, and conglomerate merger. And like I was saying, the merger stuff, that's just more about understanding kind of a little bit about how these companies work, how big some of them are, and also understanding why horizontal mergers can at times be problematic and why they don't allow them to happen. So there you have it. There is the lowdown on mergers. So we have a little more practice to do, and have a lovely weekend, and I will see you soon.